Hi everybody, I'm Leslie and I thought I'd share with you today lots of different ways that you can use 3D embossing folders. This is a Stamps by Me one and it's called the White Rose and it's a 3D embossing folder. And the first thing I thought I'd show you was if you use your embossing folders on any sort of pearlized card, you get a completely different look. And I'm just going to run it through once. I've got a load of different ones already cut out, rather embossed for you, so you don't have to keep watching me doing this. And 3D embossing folders, it will be a different sandwich on your die cutting machine depending which die cut machine you've got. Most manufacturers put things on their websites about what sandwich to use, but it's a bit of trial and error really. I think you can see, especially down here, the pearl does give it a bit of something extra. And all I did for this card was trim it down a little bit to fit on my card blank and added a little thanks sentiment. All I've done is emboss this onto black card, and I've got a white pigment ink. And all you need to do to make this come alive, can you see? All the difference is I'm just very light-handed. You don't want to press down. And all those little raised bits, hopefully you'll see, the image kind of appears, so you can see the bit I've not done over here. And if you go on nice and light-handed, you'll only catch the raised bits. How amazing does that look? This was with the foam, and this was using the same ink, but with my brush. That works really well on any dark coloured card. It wouldn't need to be black. And I thought we'd step it up and use two ink colours on this one. So I've just got Distress Oxide, I've got Tattered Rose and Saltwater Taffy, and I've just got a single blending brush, and I'm just going to highlight some of the bits. I'm not worrying that there's leaves and things. The same idea, exactly the same technique, nice and light-handed so it really catches the raised parts. So I'm not putting much pressure on this at all. Pop that over the top there. And then just with the same brush, still, I don't keep one for every colour, I've got one for each sort of colour family. And then even lighter handed, I'm just going in over the top with a darker colour just to catch again the more raised parts. It really does highlight that beautiful 3D embossing, and again you could do that in any colours you want to. And here's again just a little card. We could use different colours of ink and be a bit more deliberate. So on this one I started out with purple cards, embossed my image on there, and I've got smaller blending brushes this time so we can be a lot more deliberate where our ink goes. So exactly the same technique, but I'm just making sure that my ink only goes on my flowers. So paler stuff on first, obviously, and then we can come back and you can get really fancy what we do. So that was Shaded Lilac. This will work with dye ink as well. It doesn't need to be oxide, but because I'm using the coloured cardstock, it kind of works quite well because it's much more opaque, but it will work with a dye ink as well. Pop those on there. And I've got, so that was Villainous Potion, and this one is Rustic Wilderness, and I've managed to get some glitter on my Rustic Wilderness using it. So if you're wondering why it's a bit sparkly, it's because I've accidentally got some glitter in there. You can use it just the same, but you get the idea. Obviously, if I had more time, I could finish that better. That's black layered on vellum, just to make sure it stands out enough on there. Perfect pearls will stick to anything that's wet or sticky or damp. So this is a white core cardstock, so the white showing through on there already is just the actual card, the fibres on the inside of the paper showing up. So I thought I'd show you with Versamark. There's different ways you can apply it. You can apply it really gently, just swiping over, and it will only catch the very tops. And then you need a dry brush with your perfect pearls, or else you'll set everything. And you only need the tiniest bit, so I'm dabbing it off on here. And then if you then brush anywhere that you've got the Versamark on there, your perfect pearls will stick. And anywhere you've not got Versamark, it will wipe back off. That's exactly what I did on this card. And it's also what I did on this one. So I did the same thing. Now you could, if you've got one of the Versamarkers, which is the same ink that's in the pad, you can see my pad's filthy, but you can be really deliberate where you pop it if you've got the Versamark pen, and do something similar. So you can do that. And I'm just still using the same tiny dab, so anywhere that's sticky, the perfect pearls will stay and stick. And on that pearl, it's quite hard to pick it up on camera. It does make a difference in real life, that it just makes that pearl pop even more. But you can see it works really well on the darker cardstock. And I just did 2 variations. This is the Coordinations cardstock, so this has got a colour core to it. So this is designed for sanding, but it will work on any card that's got a white core. This card has got a grey core, so this is a Coordinations sanding block. So all I've done is emboss it, nothing else. And all you need to do, you can do this with an emery board, just on white card. So if you've got a nice flat, anything you can sand with. And I'm just going to tap that off screen so I don't get it all over my mat. So you can see, again, that brings up all those raised bits and the highlights, and it looks amazing. Same idea as with the Perfect Pearls. I've just got a little brush this time, and if you put your Versamark on, again, you can be quite deliberate if you've got one of these little brushes, or you can use your ink pad and swipe gently over the top, however you want to apply it. Pop it on there. And I've just got Clear Gloss Wow Embossing Powder. And in the same way that the Perfect Pearls sticks to anything, the Wow Embossing Powder will stick anywhere that you've got the ink. Give this a quick heat emboss. And how amazing does that look? So that's just on kraft cardstock. I did the whole thing and made it like an enamel embellishment. I just used scissors to cut that out. And I thought I could have a little hello on there or something. Then this one, I did the same thing, and I was really deliberate about where the heat embossing showed up. It got a little bit lost on there, so I thought, well, this has got a white core to it, so this card isn't solid. So even though I put the embossing powder on there already, I can still come back with my sanding block and take some of that back off. So the really raised bits are now white as well. And that's what I did on this one. And I just popped that on a black card and did a little sorry on there. And then the last one is actually probably the simplest one, that if you've got anything like these sort of gilding wax, you can just use it in the same way to highlight the image. So this is on a really pale grey cardstock. And while the image is there, it doesn't show up that well. And I'm not sticking my fingers in this today. I've just got, this is just like a tiny little square of kitchen paper. And just do exactly the same thing, just use it. Some people are quite happy sticking their finger in the gilding wax. But you can use gilding wax in a similar way to we use the Perfect Pearls. And hopefully you can see quite a difference. And that's exactly what I did for this one. I hope you enjoyed that. Lots of ways to use your 3D embossing folders.